Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we want to go back and revisit some of the old software packages in preparation for the new website. And so what we're going to do here today is I want to do a brief overview of LibreOffice. So LibreOffice, if you are new to free software or new to Linux, or you're thinking about making a switch, or maybe you're looking at your expenses in this down economy and going, things are getting a little bit pricey out there, and where can I cut off? And you're like, yeah, I got this Microsoft Office subscription and I really not doing things up on the cloud. I'm just using it like at home. Where can I save a few costs? Well, there are a lot of good free and open source, full-featured, full-functional applications for word processors and Office suites. Now, I prefer LibreOffice because as an author, I can write my books and produce my books in LibreOffice. That's something you can't do in Word. So there's actually more functionality in LibreOffice for more advanced functions. We have the easy ability to do business cards and address labels and things right out of the box without having to download templates or things like that. Now, will mention really briefly, there is another one which is also becoming really large. We're not going to address it today, but we will do a video overviewing it in the future, and that is called OnlyOffice. Also a good free and open source application, albeit a little bit more limited in features than LibreOffice has. So let's go ahead first and head on over to their website and we'll talk about it. And one of the things I want to impress on you is that even if you are happy with what you have as far as your operating system, you're not looking to switch to Linux, LibreOffice is fully cross-platform. On the Mac computer that I have laying around to do client work for people every now and again if I need to check on something, I actually have LibreOffice installed on that in the event that I need to do anything. And so all the Linux computers, of course, I generally by default use LibreOffice with OnlyOffice as a few little applications as well. But let's go ahead and jump up to their website. First and foremost, this is a good free and open source application. They do have an enterprise plan for companies wanting to use this. It's going to be probably, I've never looked at prices, probably a little bit cheaper than Microsoft Office, although what it gets you is direct support from the company in the event you have any issues. But for your average typical person or even a small business, there's really no issue with using this as a free and open source application. We are on LibreOffice 7.4, and as we dive into the computer today, I'm actually going to show you, I think I'm on 7.3 maybe on the computer I have. I chose a computer that I had which had the most recent version installed as far as what I had laying around. That way we didn't look into an older version and things like that. I want to give you the better options. So you can have a look at it and you can install this on your system now without interfering with Microsoft Office or any other Office suite you're using. So you can come on down here, hit the download button and choose your operating system. Right now, I'm on an Arch system. It's auto-detecting a Linux RPM. There's a deb package. Of course, if you are on Linux, you're going to install it through the package manager. You're not going to worry about going to the website itself and downloading it. You're going to let your Linux distribution work on that. But if you're on Windows or you're on Mac, you want to check it out, head on over to the page here and you can go ahead and grab, we have the Apple Silicon. This is the newer chips. We have the Mac OS Intel. This is the older chips. If you have an older Apple device, we have a Windows 32 and a Windows 64-bit. And these are going to get you 7.4.2. If you want to go with the 7.3.7, which is more of an LTS, a little bit older features, or if there's any issues going on with the more recent one, you can go ahead and grab these ones as well. So you can just go ahead and download the package, and there is probably places to download LibreOffice that's not on their website. I would advise against installing that on a Mac or a Windows computer because this is going to make sure it's the correct code. It's going to make sure you're not downloading malware or anything like that. All right. On Linux, you're going to default to install it through the package manager because that is also audited by the Linux distribution team. So what do we have in here? What is LibreOffice? Of course, it is an open source Office suite. It contains all of the more advanced tools that even if you needed the more advanced tools on Microsoft Office, you would have to pay in some cases hundreds of dollars thinking databasing. All that's included for free. We have the word processor, the spreadsheets. We have a presentation system. We also have a databasing tool. We have a math tool, managing PDFs. There's a lot of functions in here, probably more than most people may need. You can actually see some of these on this sidebar over here under the Discover. Here's the Writer. Here's the Calc, which is spreadsheets. Impress is the presentations. Draw, Base, Math Editor. We have charts and things like that. Now, this uses a different format. The ODT, is it ODT, I believe, the file format for the open document type. It can still save things in your docx. Now, some people have talked in the past about compatibility, and a lot of people saying it's really compatible. A lot of people saying it's not. I'll tell you this, it is very compatible. Oftentimes the differences that we have are, number one, understanding the differences between the file types. The docx file type and the ODT file type contain different types of information. Because of that, if you're trying to take a .odt file and sending this to somebody who's going to open it as a docx file on Microsoft Word, you're going to see some format changes. So if you know you're sharing a document with somebody who's still stuck on Microsoft Office, you're going to want to save it as the docx. The other issue we run into in the Linux world particularly is the fonts installed by default on a Linux computer tend to be different than the fonts installed on a Windows computer. And if you do not have the same fonts and you're sharing a document, then it's going to show up as misformatting and things on the receiver's end. That is not an issue with LibreOffice. That's an issue with understanding the file types and understanding the fonts being used. As far as the more advanced features, are there features Microsoft Office has that LibreOffice doesn't? Probably. We're talking about the upper 1% or fewer of users are even going to know about those. And as far as the things that you might need as a small business or an individual user, like address labels, business cards, LibreOffice blows Microsoft Office completely out of the water. As far as formatting books and things like that, there are things I can do in book formatting in LibreOffice that I might otherwise need a very expensive Adobe package to do formatting in some other places. But guess what? I have several published books, all of them written and produced on LibreOffice, and they go right to the same book printers everybody else's books are done on. That is why I like LibreOffice. So there are a lot of functions. There are a lot of features. It has been short on the grammar checks, although the latest version has the API plugins for a free and open source tool called Language Tool. I'm not going to talk about Language Tool specifically, but that's the one thing Microsoft Office does right now. LibreOffice does not. Inside of itself is a grammar checker, although there are good options for that. There are a lot of other ways to grab it. We're not going to cover any of those in here because I kind of want to get over to the software itself. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on over to my computer desktop here, and we will go ahead and have a look at this. All right, so I'm using this tutorial here on Tramjaro, which is and we're just running this on a live key. Nothing's installed on the computer here, and I'm just using this one because it has the most recent version of LibreOffice of all of the systems that I have right now. And so let's just go ahead and open up LibreOffice. So don't worry about the rest of it. Of course, if you think, wow, that's a really cool desktop, I'd like to use something like that, I'll review this distribution on the channel sometime soon. Now, LibreOffice, particularly on Mac, you do not have the ability to open up the Writer, the spreadsheets, and things directly, unless they've changed something in the last couple years. So on Mac, you have one launcher application, and this is it. This one here is available on Linux and on Windows. We'll use this as a starting point because this will apply to all operating systems. Inside of here, you have the ability to create and open up a new Writer document for word processing, spreadsheet. Impress is basically your PowerPoint limitation. We have drawing, we have math formulas, and we have databasing. All of this is available. Now, on many Linux distributions, I'll stop and say this. You can actually, most of them don't publish it with all of these because most people don't have a need for databasing, math, or drawing applications. So many Linux distributions just install Writer, Calc, and Impress. which is the same things you're going to get in an OnlyOffice and some of the cheaper versions of Microsoft Office. But the basic default package you're going to install is going to contain all of these. They are all available. Now, we do have a templates option down here as well, so you have a variety of different templates of various forms. I think the big downside of this is you can't tell exactly what it is. Some of these are presentations, some of these are for Office documents, so we don't have a real good way to sort those unless we pull this guy down. Here's just your writer. Here's your calc templates, nothing in there right now. Here's your PowerPoint presentations, your draw templates, and you can manage your templates over here. You can sort by categories and things like that. You can create new templates in here as well. All right, so let's have a look at the Office suites first and foremost. So out of the box here, what we're going to see is when you pull it up, it does have the older style. Some people really love this, like me, where it has the old toolbar style. It's kind of reminiscent of the 90s, early 2000s of Microsoft Office. It doesn't have the ribbons and things like that. Some people really want those ribbons. All your current versions are going to have the ability to do those. I believe it's under your user interface. So you can go ahead and change. You can apply it just to the writer application, or you can apply to all. I'm going to hit just apply to writer application here. So now let's go ahead and close this. And now you can see that we have a tabbed option, and it's very much like the current versions of Microsoft Office. Some people have suggested you should do this by default. I personally like the fact that they haven't, but you know, that really is a matter of complete personal preference. Now, of course, I have to remember how to get back to the old version. It is in here, and it's just one that I just don't remember off the top of my head because I don't use the templates much. But that's okay. We'll just stick with the tabbed ones for now. You can get back to the old way. I'm just not going to spend the time here figuring it out exactly. It's not all that complicated to get back to the non-tabbed version, but that's okay. We'll stick with this for now. We have all of the basic options. You know, under your home, you have your font selections, you have the sizes, you have your basic layouts for your, here's your default body, here's your headings, all these types of things. Now, I was mentioning that LibreOffice has a lot more functionality. A lot of that deals with the templating. So this is a very basic templating option we have over here. But we have this sidebar, which has just a ton of extra information here. All right, so inside of here, we have, here are the style properties. We have, these are all of the styles available. Note that they're not all over here, and I can come in here and I can modify all of these styles, and I can put in the fonts, everything else. That's something that applies, but what this has that Office doesn't is page styles. We also have formula styles, individual styles, list styles, image styles. There's a lot of other tools. I have done hundreds of hours of tutorials of this on my channel devoting to writing. I'm not going to spend any time on it here today. Just make you aware that you can do full-fledged, full format edits on the styles. Here's our image galleries. Here's the navigation of the document. So if you had a bunch of headings, had like a whole book in here, you could navigate through the document really easily. And then here's the basic page format. So there's a lot of information over here in the sidebar that is very helpful to use. So with that, this is the word processor application. I didn't mean to quit the whole thing. I just meant to quit just the Word application. Let's get back to here. Let's disregard that. Yes. And we're going to open up the spreadsheets. So here's your basic spreadsheet. Once again, you can turn on the tabbed options as we can, as the same way we did before. Let's go under View and User Interface, and then you can go ahead and change that. But we have basically all the same functions you might have under Excel you're going to have over here. It may not be as polished. I don't use the Excel functions all that much other than some basic budgets and things like that. I do use some pretty complicated calculations on those, however. And so this can do everything. If I want to do a sum, just do a sum and go ahead and give it the numbers, just like Microsoft Office. That's fine. Was it this one I did? There you go. So you can see it's doing the sum here. I can click over here and see what it is. I can expand that if I need to. So you can do all the same basic functionalities. We have the list of functions over here. So you can sort, make sure the functions that you might need are inside of here. Here's category all. Here's database functions. Logicals, mathematical functions. Here's statistical functions. So all of those types of basic things that you can do, they are all in here. Some of the macro support may not be exactly where it is in Microsoft Office. That's actually okay. The macros are kind of dangerous. It can support macros. It's just not a field I know as much about. But just understand that you can do pretty much all of the things inside of this. Here's your Impress. This is your you're gonna you have your basic empty one here. You can go ahead and click on one of these to apply this. Your sidebar over here is going to contain all the different options. Which layout format do you want? So you have all those options available to you as well. We also have, just like we had over in Office, we have a lot of different options. And here's animations if you want to animate your slides. All the different options are inside of the sidebar here. So you have the ability to go in here and create presentations. I do not know about the cross-compatibility between LibreOffice and Microsoft Office as far as creating presentations. It's nothing I've ever tried to do. I know the spreadsheets and the Word documents, as long as you remember the file formatting issues and the fonts, generally I've not had any problems at all copying one over to the other. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull this guy back up here. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Let's go ahead and close that one out. And open that up again. And the next thing I wanted to show you guys is the ability to create things like business cards and things like that. And so the Wizards is going to pull in address data sources. This is databasing, so if you want to do mail merging and things like that, it's all set and easy to do. As far as business cards and address labels, under File, New, of course, we can do a basic text document, spreadsheet, presentation, drawing formula, HTML, XML, labels, business cards. These are the two I want to look at right here. Again, I have more advanced videos on these on my channel devoted to writing. I think I actually have some labels and business cards here on Switch to Linux as well. But as you start this guy out, it's going to show you how this works really briefly. Start with the label text. So let's do STL 123 Main Street and Anytown, PA 12345. There you go. There's our text for our label. Now you can choose your brands here, and inside of your brands you have a variety of different labels. So here's Avery label size, and then here's a variety of different label brands that we have. Now if what you have is not in the list, you can actually modify them. So this is telling me this is a 3 by 10. So there's going to be 30 labels, and this is the size of the labels, 1 inch by 2.63 inches. And if those are not correct, you actually can come over here and modify these. You can give it how many rows, how many columns, your pitch width, your vertical pitch. So these guys here, again, I have an advanced video about how to calculate all the things that you need, but you have all those options available. And then you can do a single label or the entire page. And I like turning on this synchronize contents option. And as you do that, let's go ahead and create the new document. It's going to open this guy up. And now I can make any changes to the label that I would like. So let's maybe we'll change the font. And let's go ahead and do a center text. I'm used to my other one there. All right, and so now we have this synchronize labels guy it gave us. Push the button, and now all of our labels are going to look exactly the same. So now I can go ahead and set all my labels out the same and print this guy out and create my mailing labels or my return labels right here in the application. It works the same way with business cards and things like that. So we have a lot of cool functions and features inside of this. So that way you get a chance to see that this isn't just a word processor. This is creating labels. This is a lot of databases as far as what types of things you can grab for the commercially available labels, business cards, and things like that. Overall here, I hope that you got out of this video that LibreOffice is an excellent tool. It's definitely worth the download. And if you're even thinking about ditching Microsoft Office at some point in time down the road, even if you're planning on staying on Windows or Mac, you can install this alongside and play around with it without losing what you're doing in your current software application. And this is really the best way to switch to new software and to new operating systems, in fact, is to play around with these tools without compromising what you already have. That's what I've done, and that's what I encourage people to do. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a look over the website at switchedtolinux.com. We are going to be launching a new one here if it's not already launched by the time you watch this video. But with that, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.